So there was yet another mass shooting here in the U.S., this time at another elementary school and involving a 28-year-old woman, apparently. And I think 7 people were killed, including 3 children, is what they're saying. And we know the true definition of a mass shooting is when someone deliberately goes somewhere with the intention of shooting people randomly in mass, usually to create a scene, but sometimes with some other kind of manifesto or some reason that they'll give. But a lot of times in the U.S., and I made a video about this, the press will, and the politicians will frame every time multiple people get shot as a mass shooting. So if they have a shootout somewhere, if someone gets into an argument, even if it's just 2 people and they start shooting at each other and they hit other people, they're going to call that a mass shooting. Now, that's not a mass shooting. But this is a legitimate mass shooting. And well, we're going to go through this. I don't want to waste time. Let's just get into it.
Aren't you guys tired of being here and having to cover all of these mass shootings? I'm from Highland Park.
Okay. So she opens this speech she's going to give in the classic way with an attention-getting line, a question. You know, when you're going to give, you're going to write a paper, the first thing you're going to do is open with the thing that inspired you to write this paper. Why am I up here? Aren't you guys tired of this? Now, they're from the press, so no, they're not tired of reporting on what's happening, but it's a very dramatic question that opens what she's about to say, opens her speech, because what this is a spontaneous speech. Now, it's not particularly spontaneous because this lady apparently comes out of nowhere, and they just give her the camera. Nobody tries to stop her, even though the reporter, you can't see, but initially, the clip that I saw on Twitter, there was a reporter that was trying to give a report, and they had to cut away from him because she actually interrupted him trying to give his report. But here, it seems as if she was always meant to be there at a press conference. And I don't believe that was the case. It seems as if they were prepared, as if this is completely planned out. Let's go back again.
Aren't you guys tired of being here and having to cover all of these mass shootings? I'm from Highland Park, Illinois. My son and I survived a mass shooting over the summer. I am in Tennessee on a family vacation.
Okay, so she first gives you the attention-getting question. Then she tells you who she is. Then she begins to tell you why she's there. So she's giving you the preface to her speech. I mean, this is classic speech-making stuff. So this is not spontaneous. It's not spontaneous on her part. She's acting as if she was just standing around at the scene and it was an accident that she's there. And it's obviously not. She's ready to make a speech, and they're ready to record her giving a speech. Let's go back again.
Aren't you guys tired of being here and having to cover all of these mass shootings?
Attention getter.
I'm from Highland Park, Illinois. My son and I survived a mass shooting over the
Introduction of
summer.
who
I
she
am
is.
in Tennessee on a family vacation
Introduction of why
with
she's
my
there.
son, visiting my sister-in-law.
Now here comes
I
the
have been
speech.
lobbying in D.C. since we survived a mass shooting in July. I have met with over 130 lawmakers.
Now she's talking about Highland Park, where the guy dressed up like a girl and then went to a parade with AR-15 or some other kind of weapon and just started shooting people. That was also a legitimate mass shooting. Now, a parade has thousands of people at it, especially one in the Chicago area where there's millions of people. Is everyone that was at the parade a survivor? All the thousands of people there were all survivors. In my opinion, if you didn't get shot, if you didn't get shot at, you know, if you didn't zoom past a dead body, you're not a survivor. I mean, where does the end of the survivors? How far away do you have to be from the scene, even if you were at the parade, to be a survivor. Now, this woman is giving a speech. Now, she wants to be a politician. She may even be a politician within months, or maybe she already is. She says she's a lobbyist, so basically, she's become a politician based on her being a survivor. And I'm doing air quotes even by myself. But it's all just extremely suspicious to the point of not even being suspicious anymore, just looking as if the whole thing is planned out, without a doubt. So who knows who's planning this type of thing and putting this person here to speak, this actor. And when she speaks, she sounds like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I can't remember where I heard somebody saying her name like that, but I just say it every time like that now. But she has this like worried mother energy. I'm concerned for the country. It's like, if you live in the U.S., especially if you live in one of these big cities, from the time you were a child to the time that to her age, she looks like she's about 40 or something, maybe a little older, maybe a little younger. If you live to this point in a big city, you've been burgled, robbed, assaulted, you've been in fights, you might have been stabbed, shot at, you may have been not shot at, but actually shot. You know, you've gone through some stuff. I mean, myself, I grew up in a very dangerous, violent city, arguably at the time, the most dangerous city in the country and one of them in the world. And by the time I was about 11 years old, I'd already had guns in my face, you know. I just moved on. It was traumatic, yes. It really wasn't nearly as traumatic as this lady is acting like it is. And I don't think she even has ever had this type of experience. But the point I'm making is that you just move on with your life. You don't become a lobbyist for gun legislation. You want to take your life into your own hands. That's what people who are really concerned for themselves do. They don't go to Washington, D.C. or whatever their state capital is and start lobbying for legislation, because they'll understand that it wasn't legislation. I mean, first of all, the gun's probably either illegally obtained or what would I say? Or obtained from someone under suspicious circumstances. Now, I don't know. That's a little too much to say, but a lot of times that's the case. Let's go back again, and I'll let it play some more.
Aren't you guys tired of being here and having to cover all of these mass
Those the
shootings?
attention getter?
I'm from Highland Park, Illinois. My son and I survived a mass shooting over the summer.
Introduction
I
of who
am
she
in
is?
Tennessee on a family vacation with my son, visiting my sister-in-law. I have been lobbying in D.C.
Why she's
since
there.
we survived a mass shooting in July. I have met with over 130 lawmakers.
Now comes the speech.
How is this still happening? How are our children still dying, and why are we failing them?
More questions.
Gun violence is the #1 killer of children and teens. It has overtaken cars. Assault weapons are contributing to the border crisis and fentanyl. We are arming cartels with...
Now, if you look at the way she is speaking, she's moving her hands, the way she's addressing everyone that's speaking, there's no real she's not distraught. She's making a speech. And her name is Ash B. Beasley. I can't remember. I'm a very good typer. I can't remember whether the B is next to the L on the keyboard. But if her name is Ashby or Ashbay Beasley, I don't know if I believe it.
Our guns and our loose gun laws, and these shootings and these mass shootings will continue to happen until our lawmakers step up and pass gun safety legislation.
Now she's trying to scare you. First, she asked you the question, are you sick of this? Which is a crazy question. I mean, anybody who's experiencing people getting shot, children getting shot in their school, and it's happening more than once, the only answer is yes. I mean, I can't imagine saying, no, I'm not scared of the children getting shot. So she's trying to back you into a corner, and now she's telling you it's going to continue happening unless you do what I say, do what I'm lobbying for. So she's trying to influence certain legislation to get passed. Now, who knows? Like I said, I might have said this. I've done this video a couple of times, but who knows whether it's corporations or the state or the news corporation, the news people doing this, staging these events or staging whatever's happening. But this is a speech. This isn't natural.
Aren't you guys tired of this? Are you guys sick of it?
Question again.
We have to do something. We'll all have to call our lawmakers, and we all have to make our lawmakers make change now, or this is going to keep happening, and it's going to be your kid and your kid and your kid and your kid next.
I mean, these are speech-making mechanisms. She asked you the question again. She said it's going to continue again. Then she started addressing everyone in the crowd to make sure everyone feels compelled to do what she's saying. It's going to be your kid and your kid and your kid. It's like Oprah, everybody gets a car. You get a car, you get a car. I mean, it's the same, it's a show. And it's a shame because I don't think people recognize this. There are some people, but not enough. And it seems quite obvious after a certain point. But groupthink takes over. You know, panic, outrage, as they call it. So I won't go on and on about this, but yeah, this isn't, there's some kind of plan going on with the gun thing. You know, a lot of right-wing people think they're trying to take our guns. And, you know, I don't know. I mean, I don't think anybody particularly wants to take our guns so then they can all murder us. But I think there's some kind of distraction with this gun thing where, well, there's something greater going on that I think is the underlying reason for this channel, which is the whole fake reality. Like, everything is fake. Everything is staged. Everything is corporate. Everything is an act. And everyone is just going through the motions of living out their lives according to what corporations and the state are mandating for them to do. Their whole lives are set up to run a certain way. And one of the ways is you use the archetype, the character of the nurturing mother whose heart is broken to compel you to think this or to think that. And they will use that for the other side too. They might use the military man or the broken-hearted father who lost his child in a mass shooting. Or I could just go on and on. You know, the sibling. I've done a couple of these videos. The teacher who's fed up with not being protected. But if anything, I want to compel you. This is my speech. I want to compel you to think for yourself and always evaluate everything you see, because the vast majority of people you see, and nearly every single one of them that get on these mainstream forums, even a lot of times on these local news stations, or anyone that gets, you know, millions of followers, they are all quote unquote plants. They're involved with the thing. They're involved with the fake reality that these fakers, these corporations, these government people, monarchs, people in these various world groups, and there's so many of them at this point vying for power and using propaganda. I mean, we're the most propagandized nation, the U.S., and this is the most propagandized everybody in the world has been ever. And if you think that the main use of these different media organizations from the beginning of radio, from the beginning of the newspapers being passed around, who knows how long that's been going happening. But like I said, my main point is make your own decisions.